Hello guys, Angry One Horn back with another Angry One's Flying Adventures video tutorial, and today we are going to do a hot pit refuel of our F4 Phantom from GC Designs. So we've already got the engine started. If you watched the previous video of the engine start, we're at that point where we ended that video, and now we're going to do a hot pit refuel. So a hot pit refuel is something that they did quite often on multiple go days, so that one, you don't have to do a through flight inspection. Two, the pilot can have less downtime between. So a typical day, you might see let's just say 10 aircraft on the first go or flying, and then they come back and pit, and then those 10 aircraft would go back up with the same pilot, obviously, and then they would come back to chocks. They might even hot pit before going back to chocks, since the pits are open. Go back to chocks, shut down, change air crew out. The ground crew has to do an inspection called a through flight, and then the new air crew come back out and they do the same thing. But on the second go, normally it's like, if it was 10 on the first go, it'd be 8 the second go. So you'd have 8 pit 8. So it would look like the flying schedule would look like 10 pit 10 turn 8 pit 8. So you get 36 sorties out of the day, as versus like a 10 turn 8, which you'd only get 18 sorties then. So we're gonna go over that procedure. So this is gonna assume that we're gonna taxi into the spot. So we have to do what is called a single engine taxi. The single engine taxi, you're gonna go ahead and shut down the engine at the end of runway and taxi to the hot pits on a single engine. So this is going to assume that you've already done the after landing checklist, the WISO, pilot WISO, leg restraints and harness, and personnel equipment leads except oxygen and communications are disconnected. If the disconnected canopy fully open will remain open. Internal wings transfer switch to normal. We are in normal. All right. External transfer switch is off. So it's in the stop position in this aircraft. Air refuel switch extended. So we are going to wait to do that, because as soon as we extend that refill switch, it'll start filling up the airplane. But we're not there yet. We would be taxiing there. So we will simulate that we can use that switch later for the actual transfer of fuel from the ground crew to the airplane. All right. So right generator off. Bus tie is supposed to remain out, but it doesn't. Remember, we did that in the start. Utility pressure indicators within limits. We know that doesn't operate in this aircraft. Right engine throttle off. So you can't go to cut off with this because of the limitations in the throttle or in a sim. So we're going to go ahead and just use this button switch right here to simulate going to cut off. And you're going to see the engine roll back. We're going to monitor that, make sure we don't get a reignition or anything like that, and that they steadily decrease. We don't get a hot combustion or exhaust gas temperature there. All right, and we're good to go there. So now we're going to taxi, and then we're going to go into the spot like we are here. We're going to follow the ground crew instructions. Do not turn generator switches off during this time, as any interruption in electric power will cause auxiliary air doors to close violently and possible injury to crew. Do not enter the hot pit area with hung ordnance aboard, or if the known hot break condition exists. If notified of hot breaks, taxi clear of the refueling area. When you taxi in, the ground crew will check for your hot breaks for you. Hot pit refueling. Before refueling, single engine taxi procedures complete. We just did those. Okay, after entering the hot pit area, establish three-way voice contact, intercom with pilot, refueling supervisor, and servicing personnel. We're going to simulate that we have that. Anytime there's a disruption of that, we have to discontinue refueling immediately. Refuel selection switch, as desired. Fuel configuration should be determined by mission requirements. We're just going to go ahead and it's going to do it automatically for us in this scenario. During refuel, remain alert to all visual and voice signals from the Refueling supervisor, monitor ground control frequency. Radio transmissions are prohibited in a hot pit area except for an emergency. If fuel starts venting from the aircraft, place the refill switch to INT only and discontinue refueling immediately. If fuel starts venting over the aircraft, place the refill switch selection switch to INT only and discontinue refueling immediately. In the event of a fire or leak on the aircraft or ramp area, under the aircraft, shut down the left engine and evacuate aircraft. In the event of a fire or fuel leak in a refueling hydrant control area, other than the immediate vicinity of the aircraft, discontinue refuel and taxi out of the area if directed by ground crew. All right, so now we're ready to start refueling. We're going to signal the ground crew to go ahead and start giving us fuel, and we're going to simulate that by turning this switch to extend. And then if we go up here to this, since the only way we can monitor that is by watching our fuel gauge go up. But this is just so you can see that it's working. And there you go. So it's going to go ahead and do all our switches for us, getting our fuel to the right cells and giving us all internal fuel. It will not give us integral left or integral right, and it will not give us external wing tanks unless we had those wing tanks installed and centerline tank installed prior to, you had those installed for flight. So it will not actually end up refilling those, and then all of a sudden now you have your tanks installed. All right, so we're going to sit there and watch that. All right, so now we are full of fuel, so we go ahead and turn the fuel switch off. After refuel switch, retract, and refuel select switch INT only. So that is how you hot pit refuel. The only difference is if you do it in the air, you won't shut the engine down. Thank you very much for watching. Again, catch me on Twitch, Angry One Horn, and I'll be glad to share my Angry One Horn's flying adventures with you.